This is Leo Cloutier with Malice to It None. It's indeed a pleasure to have as our guest today a youngster who's well known in our part of the country, comes from Belmont, Massachusetts, pitched for the Boston Red Sox way back and is now an established member of the Chicago White Sox. I'd like to welcome to our show Wilbur Wood. Welcome, Wilbur.
Thank you very much, Leo. Pleasure being with you.
Well, Wilbur, it's always a pleasure to have you as our guest. And Wilbur, this is number what for you in the major leagues?
This will be my 6th year in the major leagues.
And you started off with the Boston Red Sox?
Yes, I did. I started off in the organization in 1960, and this will be my 10th year in professional baseball.
And you were just a kid then?
Yes, I was.
As you are now.
Thank you. No, I signed just out of high school and went away with the Red Sox farm clubs.
Wilbur, didn't you have the tough task of facing the New York Yankees in your first game in the major leagues?
Yes, I did. I opened up, I think it was on a Saturday afternoon against New York. I was called up from one of the minor league clubs at the time. I believe it was 62 or 61 now. I can't remember the exact year, but I think that was the first big league ball game.
Yeah, I remember that because I was in Fenway Park at the time. And Wilbur, that was a good Yankee ball club. It was the club known as the Bronx Bombers. They could plot that ball over the fence any time of the day or night.
Yes, they could. They had many ball players there, and any one of them could hit that long ball for you. And, of course, they proved it throughout the years. They won pennant after pennant there.
So true. That was quite a tough assignment for a youngster like yourself at the time.
Well, it was, but, of course, it was a great challenge, and the first time I'd ever put on a Major League uniform, and actually you don't really think of it, who you're pitching against. It's just a big thrill just to put the uniform on and pitch.
It must have been quite a thrill, right? Wilbur, you established a year or two ago, I guess it was 2 years ago, a record for consecutive, or rather for games in which you relieved. I think it was 86, am I right?
Yes, it was 86 relief appearances, and I had 2 starts that year, so I had a total of 88 appearances for the year.
Last year, Wayne Granger of also Massachusetts broke it by going into 90 games.
Yes, he did, and he had quite a year for himself. And of course, it's a lot tougher for Granger, his style of pitching, than it was for myself. Throwing the knuckleball takes a lot less out of your arm, and of course, he's a fastball or sinker slider pitcher, and it's a lot tougher in his arm than it was in mine, I'm sure.
Well, what decided you to become a relief pitcher?
Well, when I came over here in 1967, they had an established staff. They had 6 or 7 starters over here, and there were only 5 spots. And they did have, there was a spot or 2 open in the bullpen, and Eddie Stanky was the manager at the time, asked me if I could have a pitch relief, and of course I said yes, and he said, well, he said, if you can make the ball club as a relief pitcher, he said, the opportunity might be there as a starter, so we just have to wait and see. So as it turned out, I worked out of the bullpen, and I haven't left it since.
It certainly is remarkable that you made that transition. Let me ask you, do you still use your fastball?
Oh, yes, I still throw the fastball and curveball, but of course my big pitch now, I'll call the bread and butter pitch, is a knuckleball. So depending upon the situation of the ball game and the hitter at the time, you mix them up a little bit.
Well, Wilbur, I see that our time is up as much as I just like to say so, but I certainly want to thank you for this interview, and I want to wish you a most successful season, and also the White Sox for the coming year.
Thank you very much, Leo.
Thank you, Wilbur. This was an interview with Wilbur Wood, the star relief pitcher of the Chicago White Sox, and this brings us to the end of With Malice to It None for today. Until tomorrow at the same time, Leo Cloutier, good day.
Brought to you by Poster Fix. At Poster Fix, we bring your vintage posters back to life. To learn more about Leo Cloutier's sports world, visit leocloutier.com.